For today's video, we are going to have a practice problem on how to graph a piecewise function. So these are the different types of graph that you need to remember. The first one, if you are going to graph a linear function, let's say f of x is equal to x, we are going to have a straight line with a slope of 1 and rises 45 degrees angle. And if you are going to have a quadratic function, if it is positive, it opens upward, and if it is negative, it opens downward. And if you have f of x equals x cubed, this will be the graph of x cubed. And if it is negative, should be on the other side. And if you are going to have f of x is equal to 1 over x, this will be on the opposite side of the graph. And if you are going to have f of x is equal to square root of x, this will be the graph of square root of x if it is positive, and if it is negative, it should be downward. So these are the different graphs that we need to remember in order for us to graph a piecewise function. So let's start. Let's have an example. On the first example, f of x is equal to x when x is less than 0, and it's equal to 5 when x is greater than or equal to 0. So let us graph the two functions separately. If you are going to graph f of x is equal to x, basically it's a straight line with a slope of 1 and rises at 45 degrees angle. So this will be f of x is equal to x. And if you are going to graph a constant, that is 5, that is a horizontal line when y is equal to 5. So this will be f of x is equal to 5. We only have this portion of the graph because x is less than 0. And this portion of the graph because x is greater than or equal to 0. So the graph of the piecewise function should be an open circle because we use less than. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And horizontal line, that is a closed circle because we use greater than or equal to 0. And this will be the graph of the piecewise function. Example number 2, f of x is equal to 2 when x is less than 1. It's equal to x plus 3 when x is greater than 2. So if we are going to graph f of x equals 2 when x is less than 1, we are going to have a horizontal line at 1, 2. So this will be 1, 1, 2. And we are going to have an open circle at 1, 2 because we have less than. And from here, we are going to have a horizontal line to the left. So this will be the graph of f of x equals 2 when x is less than 1. What about f of x equals x plus 3 when x is greater than 2? So let's say, for example, x equals 2 and we have x plus 3. So this will be 2 plus 3 and that is 5. So therefore, we have 2, 5. So the graph of this function will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to use an open circle because we have greater than. And then we have a straight line with a slope of 1. So to graph the given piecewise function, we are going to have 1, 1, 2. So we have open circle to the left. And then we have 2, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open circle. So this will be the graph of the given piecewise function. And this will be our answer. On example number 3, f of x is equal to 2x plus 1 when x is less than 1, and it's equal to 1 when x is equal to 1, and it's equal to negative x squared when x is greater than 1. So let us graph this one first. So let's say x is equal to 1. We are going to have 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1, and that is 3. So this will be 1, 3. Let's say x is 0. This will be 2 multiplied by 0 plus 1, and this will be 1. So we are going to have 0, 1. So to graph 2x plus 1, when x is less than 1, we are going to have an open circle at 1, comma 3 because we use less than and 1 is not included. And the next point will be 0, 1. So this will be the point. And the next point, if you are going to set x is equal to negative 1, so this is negative 1, comma 1. So this will be the graph of 2x plus 1 when x is less than 1. And if you are going to plot f of x is equal to 1 when x is equal to 1, we are going to have 1, comma 1. And there is no range of value for this function. And if you are going to graph a quadratic function, let's say if we are going to have x squared, this will be opens upward. And let's say we have negative x squared, this will be opens downward. So since the value of x is greater than 1, let's say x is 1, this will be negative x squared, and we are going to have negative 1 raised to 2, and this will be negative 1. So we are going to have 1, comma negative 1. So meaning to say, we only need this part of the graph because x is greater than 1. So the plot or the graph of 1, negative 1 is an open circle because we use greater than and downward. And this will be our answer. On example number 4, f of x is equal to 3x plus 4 when x is less than 0, and it's equal to 2 when x is 0, and it's equal to square root of x when x is greater than 1. So let us have 3x plus 4 when x is less than 0. So let's say x is 0. This will be 3 multiplied by 0 plus 4, and this is 4. So we are going to have 0, comma 4. And then let's say x is negative 1. This will be 3 times negative 1 plus 4. And this is negative 3 plus 4. And that is 1. So we are going to have negative 1, comma 1. Since x is less than 0, we are going to have an open circle at 0, 4. And the next point will be negative 1, comma 1. And it's a straight line downward because it's less than. And then, if f of x is equal to 2, when x is equal to 0, we are going to have 0, comma 2. So this will be 0, comma 2. And if you are going to graph square root of x when x is greater than 1, let's say x is equal to 1, this will be square root of x is equal to square root of 1, and that is 1. So we are going to have 1, comma 1. And let's say x is 4. So we have square root of 4. The square root of 4, that is 2. So this will be 4, comma 2. Since x is greater than, we are going to use an open circle at 1, comma 1. And the next point will be 4, comma 2. And this will be the graph of square root of x when x is greater than 1. And this will be our answer. Example number 5, f of x is equal to 1 over x when x is less than 0, and it's equal to 3 when x is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 3, and it's equal to negative x plus 5 when x is greater than or equal to 3. So if you are going to draw the graph of 1 over x, it should be something like this. So this will be the graph of 1 over x. Since x is less than 0, we only need this part of the graph. So let us draw here. And then, f of x is equal to 3 when x is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 3. So this will be a horizontal line at y equals 3. So we are going to use a closed circle because we use greater or less than or equal to 0, and an open circle because of less than. And then f of x is equal to negative x plus 5 when x is greater than or equal to 3. So let's say x is equal to 3. This will be negative 3 plus 5, and that is 2. So we are going to have 3 comma 2. And let's say x is 4. Let's say we have negative 4 plus 5, and this is 1. So we have 4 comma 1. Let's say x is 5. So this will be negative 5 plus 5, and that is 0. So this will be 5 comma 0. Since we use greater than or equal, we are going to use a closed circle at 3 comma 2. Then the next point will be 4 comma 1, and then we have 5 comma 0, and the direction will be here because we use greater than or equal to, and this will be our answer. So I hope you've learned from this video. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless us all.